What is up, lads and lasses? Back at it again, and today I need to pick on some gripes. Totenreich was an absolute revival of the COD Zombies community. Listen, it's been good since Black Ops 6. Some of y'all are not ready to admit that, but Totenreich had this perfect mix of nostalgia in terms of map design, in terms of aesthetic, in terms of a different variation of the OG characters. However, this ending cutscene does not do it justice. This entire piece, this entire DLC, was centered around Dr. Edvard Richtofen. And the key thing to remember here is his imposing presence the first time that we see him, right? Welcome to the party. You guys remember that? The aura that he came with, that he was exhuming? And then all throughout Ashes of the Damned, Astra Malorum, and even Nuketown, he had this air of smugness, as if everything was going according to plan, as if he knew so much more than everybody else. And then we get to Totenreich. At the very beginning, he's shaken to see that his legacy, this town where he just made his ultimate achievements and discoveries, was completely devastated, which is fine. It's a good part of the story, right? And then you had the character dedicated side Easter egg that delves into his backstory within this map and his universe, which was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, that moment when all these spiritual aspects and elements of this verse kind of try to remind him and guilt trip him about destroying the lives of 7 million people in New York by dropping a nuke, which, by the way, fun fact, me and Norgan4 Gaming did the research, and America would not have completely surrendered. In fact, they would have doubled down, and gave it to the next Reich. Like, they were already mobilized, they would have went crazy, so that's probably not how it would have played out in real history, but anyways, I digress. Now, here is my problem, right? Okay, this whole thing finishes. We witness the absolute glory, the absolute intelligence. The reason why this is the best Richtofen, the most dangerous and evil, the most competent Richtofen of all the verses. And then he's berating this demon like the absolute goat that he is, telling this inferior being that he better hand his soul back, just to get absolutely choked out. Just like my hopes and dreams of the Shadowsmiths being the Victus crew, which, by the way, I'm 100% confident that the original plan was for the Victus crew to be the Shadowsmiths, and then suddenly someone changed it in the middle, because I don't think they're going to end the story. I think they're trying to milk it as much as possible, and they're going to introduce Victus maybe at the end of this season or something. I don't know. Anyways, bro gets choked so badly, he gets lifted into the air. And hey, this might be Stuhlinger, okay? There's a non-0% chance that this could be Edward, what's his face? Samuel J. Stuhlinger. There's potential, right? Somebody go look at his last name and see if there's even the slightest hint of relation to the Nordic people. And we'll establish that connection, make a 20-minute video, and we will say that yes, this dude is Stuhlinger. But anyways, so Richtofen gets his soul here, but to me, it's like he's giving him his soul, but taking all of his aura. Now, look, from a story perspective, this makes sense, right? The dude is evil. The dude did a lot of bad things. He's been super smug, and, finally he gets kind of knocked down a peg or two. And this is maybe only a scratch on the surface of the level of karma, right? Of the level of punishment that he should get for the evil that he has done. However, wait, one thing that I noticed in this frame, that lady, what's her name? The smart lady, she kind of jumped, took a few steps to try to help Richtofen in this moment, and Carver held her back. That's interesting. But anyways, the reason why I kind of didn't like this is, I don't know if there was a better way to approach it, but you're really taking down this character. I really felt like after this cutscene ended, Richtofen was no longer, before I felt like Richtofen had a grand scheme, in the back of his hand. I felt like Richtofen was going to be the final boss. I felt like this Richtofen had some evil plan, and he may very well still have a plan, but when this cutscene ended, it made me think less of him, right? It made me think he's no longer a threat. It put him on an equal level to everybody else, and I don't like that. Damn, bro got tossed, and yeah, I'm probably really salty that this is not Victus. It might still be Victus, right? And then I know they said the next Shadowsmith is a female, but hey, maybe Russman was feeling some type of way, you know what I mean? Dark Ether, being in the Dark Ether for that long, it'll do things to a guy, I suppose. And then Weaver, bro, this guy pointed at Reaver and said, "I grant you voice lines in the next cutscene." Like, my dude is going through it. I mean, even when he does have voice lines, they're so corny and cringe. This is his most familiar voice line. This is the one that he would spam in Black Ops 6. He'd be like, "Two shots to the chest, one shot to the head. Spoiler, you only needed the shot to the head." It was so bad, bro. Anyways, they spend the next minute and a half basically kind of saying that the rest of the story is just you searching for a MacGuffin. I mean, bro, what? How did the writing plateau? How did the writing drop so bad from here? Yeah, they're like, "Oh yeah, the next place you gotta go to is a hot place with a volcano, and you gotta get something." And it's like, I understand that's kind of the story of most zombies maps, anyways. And then you have Maya here saying, "My brother, I need to find my brother." And another trend that I'm noticing is they're trying to position this character as being like the ultimate smarty pants. Like they're even trying to make her seem like she's smarter than Richtofen, which is like, why? Why? Richtofen is supposed to be the ultimate evil genius. I really hope his story doesn't end here. I really hope his build up doesn't end here, because they built him off just to do what? There was no payoff. I mean, yeah, we had the whole New York, nuking New York City storyline and like that kind of thing, which is, yeah, cool, but like that should just be an element to his build up. By the way, I'm just ranting here now, but they introduced the OG Ultimus Dempsey attire, but one thing that they did is they just kept the same exact hairstyle. Why couldn't they just put in a little bit of effort and give him the buzz cut? Like, literally, just change the hairstyle. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I don't have much else to say here. I just really just didn't like how they ended the this map and the story, and the cutscene just kind of seemed kind of whack. It wasn't that bad. It was all right. I don't know. I just feel like Richtofen got absolutely put down, tamed, neutered in terms of a character, and Weaver is obviously nothing. And they killed my absolutely goated theory of Victus being the Shadow Smiths. But then again, hey, maybe Caltheris and Vitharion are Marlton and Misty, and then these are different Shadow Smiths, and then Stuhlinger and Rustman are in the cage. Maybe that might be the case. But also, that may not be the case. And but then again, I did hear, okay, there was a radio. Go watch Talam. Talam is literally one of the best YouTubers for extrapolating voice lines, radios, so on and so forth. I mean, dude, this guy's the GOAT. Big shout out, big thank you to Talam, man. This guy, he compiles all the story quotes, puts them in a video, and it's just really nice to listen to. Anyways, as I was saying, one of those radios basically has the warden talking, and he says two things that kind of spark my interest. Number one, he mentions that, again, there are certain groups of souls who have like stronger essence, especially, and the essence is stronger as you have more exposure to element 115 and the ether and teleportation and whatnot, right? Obviously, Samantha Maxis being this huge catalyzing event that may have spurred the dark ether into the cataclysmic state that it's in. But then, these characters all teleported, right? So obviously their blood is imbued with the ether and like whatever power is associated with it, especially Richtofen. Well, I don't know about this Richtofen because he didn't teleport a lot, but like the OG Primus Richtofen, that whole thing with the blood, that's the reason why he needed those blood vials, because his blood vials, there's actually like a exponential multiplier to how imbued the ether is to your blood as you teleport. Okay, and let's think, who else has teleported multiple times in this whole verse? Who else's blood might be especially valuable? Who else's essence and soul might be special? Victus. That's the only people. And the warden mentions that he only once in a while, only once in a blue moon, like a shooting star, do you ever get people who, or any kind of creatures with any type of special essence that crosses into the dark ether. And obviously these guys are it, but also for sure Victus are definitely it. And there is one part of the radio at the very, very end where you can hear a bunch of people screaming as he consumes a bit of their souls, the same way that he consumed a bit of these guys' souls in essence. And hey, I mean, there was a varying tones of people screaming, and that could be Victus, maybe. I mean, what a tragic and pathetic state that they're in. How horrible. But at least they're there. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. All right, y'all, that's it. Thank you all very much. Like, comment, and subscribe down below. And by the way, UFC is completely rigged. Hamza did not lose that match. He won on all stats. Yeah, bye.